Hello and welcome to another podcast episode. Today we're going to be reviewing Thor, Love and Thunder. As you can see,
He broke into my house. He broke into my house.
yeah, Thatchy Boy's visiting Aiden. So,
broke into his house, and I'm just staying.
He's
here.
eating my food, pissing my toilet, not flushing.
Not flushing, shitting on the floor.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
chewing gum and
surprised.
putting underneath my desk.
Oh
so,
yeah, there's so much gum.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, not surprised, right?
The state of him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to quickly turn down Skype. That's gonna come up. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, Love and Thunder's just came out today for America. Did it? Or did it not come out yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yesterday I saw it, and these two saw it today. And we're gonna just review it, talk about the things we liked, the things we disliked, and so on and so forth. So, let's get your overall thoughts first, like your genuine, general thought of the movie. What did you think?
Well, seems like it's been a pretty pulverizing movie for most people.
Yeah, I mean, there was love and there was thunder, so that's all I can.
It seems like a very decisive kind of thing at the minute.
Yeah.
It is, especially what the movie's about. It's a very decisive movie in terms of how everyone thinks of it.
Yeah, for sure. But it seems like that's every Marvel movie nowadays.
Yeah.
Either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, especially with like Multiverse of Madness and then like this. Those two especially seem to be like very polarizing.
The last one, people really loved Spider-Man. I think
that was pretty unanimous. Like
yeah. It's
Well, I wish every movie was like that now, but they won't.
Yeah.
People just won't agree.
Yeah.
But
I think it just goes to show Marvel's in a business of like Phase 4 is just kind of in them like just with making big swings, just going for it in many cases. And that's going to strike out for some people or it's going to be a hit for some people.
Yeah, and I will say, like, when I get onto it, like, for me, Phase 4 has been pretty up and down, like, uneven and stuff. Like, there has been things that I have definitely liked, like WandaVision, Loki, obviously Moon Knight, like Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, Shang-Chi, but everything else just hasn't really done it for me. And stuff, and obviously that brings me on to like Love and Thunder. These two, I'm sure, really enjoyed the movie. Me on the other hand, I really...
Yeah, you can go ahead and talk about
you go
your
first.
thoughts.
Do you know what? I really wanted to love this film because I love Ragnarok and I do love Taika Waititi. I do love his films, his style, and his comedy. This film just didn't do anything for me. And I genuinely don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was because it was like overly silly and stuff, like with the comedy and whatnot. Them goats especially. That was pretty annoying for me. The story itself, I was like, whatever. Gore was great. By far the best part of the movie, for me anyway. Don't know about you two. Yeah, I don't know what it was about this movie. It just didn't really do anything for me, and it's shit to say because I really wanted to love it. Like, yeah. The last movie I had this thing about was The Eternals because I was hyped to fuck about that, and I came out and I hated it. So it's like maybe I shouldn't be excited for them.
You just been like cautiously about like getting a bad taste in your mouth again, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
it's really shit.
What really disappointed you? Like, is it just the story or like how?
I think I think it's a mix of things. Like, we didn't get much gore, and we are going to go into spoilers, by the way. So if you haven't seen it, fuck off. If you have,
stay.
We didn't get much gore, and I loved everything we got. He was a very menacing villain for what we had, and it's a shame that they did kill him off in the end. I just felt like this movie was a bit of a parody. I've heard that a lot as well from critics and whatnot and like other YouTubers, and I tried to like not think of it that way, but there was just things about it where I thought it's a bit like a skit that you'd see on SNL or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And I mean they even brought like one or two actors or whatever from that on or something. The comedy really let it down. it's like, first and foremost, it's a comedy movie, or at least that's what it's trying to be. And obviously, comedy is very subjective. Either you're a person that really enjoys a certain type, or you don't. For example, I don't like Friends. I know Friends is incredibly popular and loved, but I just can't get down with that comedy. It's just, I don't find it amusing, but that's just me. This movie is just overly too silly.
Right.
And it just, I don't know, there wasn't anything that really worked for me. The story, like I said, I just didn't really find interesting. Thor, I didn't really find much interest in him. It was great to see the Guardians. Them goats were fucking awful. Zeus was a great inclusion.
No, wait. I'm gonna stop you right there. The goats were awful?
I really couldn't stand them.
Wow.
So, and it's kind of like that thing, like I was talking to Tyler before I came on, and I was like, do you remember that goat video that was out years ago, the screaming one? Did you ever find that funny? He was like, no. I was like, well, be prepared to fucking not laugh, I guess, because it's in this film. I genuinely hated every scene that they were in. I genuinely could not stand them. It was just grating. Like, one time was fine, but it was because it was, like, constant. I just was like, alright, okay, I'm over this.
You're either gonna love them or you're gonna hate them.
Yeah,
right?
I
understand.
Yeah,
but to me,
100%.
I thought they're hilarious, and also that for me, sometimes those kind of jokes can get annoying to a certain point.
Yeah,
I thought
that's what I mean.
They didn't use it so much in my eyes.
I think what got
there was a really great part
when they first did it and they showed the goats. My first thought was what you said. I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna like this at all. This is gonna get really annoying.
Because you know exactly what it's
and
gonna
then
be.
I think I knew because I was like, I know exactly how these are gonna go and like when they're gonna do it. And I think the reason why they weren't like the funniest part of the movie, but I didn't dislike them and they made me laugh a bit is because they didn't use the screaming when you thought they would. They used it in really unexpected places. I wasn't expecting I was expecting an obvious place to use it, right? Like a guy was gonna get stabbed and open his mouth and the goat would scream or something, right? But every time they used them, it was in a spot I was not expecting them.
I will say the only time that like it really worked was, for me anyway, was when they crashed into like the moon.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was.
I was like, yeah, that. All right, I'll take that one.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, so like those weird moments when you're not expecting it, and then that's what made me like, okay. I didn't laugh at every scene they were in where they did it, but I didn't dislike them, and I think I liked that I can totally understand why they're annoying because they're screaming a loud ass goats, right? But at least I didn't feel that they used them unexpectedly, and so that kind of got me a few times because they would scream when I wasn't because I've seen
you were anticipating.
Yeah, I've seen movies with jokes like that, you know, and been like, oh my god.
You see him and you're like, oh, it's gonna be like this. So thankfully, knowing Taika, I was like, yeah, he's gonna find a way to make it.
I always think it's like the rule of three though when it comes to jokes or whatever. Like you should never do the same thing over 3 times. It's always like you tease the audience, and then you get your payoff or something like that. But it obviously wasn't like that. But the comedy wasn't for me, and that was one of my biggest worries because it's constant throughout the film for the most part. Like when Gore's on screen, it's very serious, I guess, and obviously with the Jane stuff, it's very serious, but everything in between, it's very silly camp humor, I guess.
Yeah.
The final battle I genuinely thought was incredibly underwhelming.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I got goosebumps watching that scene. I don't know. It's not.
It's just like Thor with kids, and I was like, all right, okay. I will say this film has possibly one of the worst VFX shots I've ever seen in an MCU film. Probably beating Black Panther is when you see Heimdall's son, and it's just the head. I was like, what the...
Yeah, so
that was funny. I loved it.
I think it's weird.
Right, well, think about Axel is still learning how to use his powers and everything. Yes. So
I think like his dad it looks really, really corny, But I think that was the point. Like, I think they were trying to make it look ridiculous,
Yeah.
so that I don't think they were trying to make it look realistic.
Yeah.
I want someone, if someone's gonna make a video talking about this VFX shot looks like shit, and it's just like showing the kid's head on the thumbnail. It's like, guys, that's part of the joke.
It just really screamed like Monty Python to me.
It throws you off the scene. It's kind of supposed to be serious, like, oh shit, we know.
I think here's what I think. Here's I think the problem. I do think it doesn't land perfectly. It's pretty funny when it happens. You don't know it's Heimdall's kid until after that happens, right?
Yeah.
If they would have set up that he was Heimdall's kid earlier on and then had him do that, I think it would have been much funnier.
Yeah.
I think that maybe would like a setup and then a payoff. But I still laugh, but I think it could have been better. I see where Rangus is coming from. It was a little. I was like, wait, what? At first, I didn't even know what was happening.
No, it was a little bit. It was a little bit out of left field.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's two other shots that I could talk about, like when Thor has the helmet on, he's like Jane. It just looks incredibly like posted in, and then the following scene where the helmet comes off, which I don't like how Mighty Thor's helmet works. I really don't like how it just comes and goes. I wish it was like an actual helmet kind of thing. And she's clearly just posted in to the background, like in front of the background and stuff, and it was just But what was the whole love triangle between Stormbreaker, like Mjolnir and Thor? Like, what was all that?
That was
okay, dude. I don't know.
That was
this is one of those things. This is one of those things where either you're gonna think it's hilarious, you're gonna think it's the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
But oh my god, when Stormbreaker came in the side of the screen,
that was funny.
Dude, I died.
That was funny.
Was so funny.
I agree. I did laugh at that, but it was just too much of it, I guess, for me. And like,
look,
Stormbreaker had a character arc, all right.
Look, it's loony. It is Looney Tunes. It is ridiculous. But I tend to like when they just go for it and stuff like that.
And that goes back to the humor, right?
Right.
If, like us, we enjoy this.
This
ridiculous kind of humor.
Right. I watched like there's a lot of people like the movie that Taika did.
I'll be right back. What's up? Bathroom door's locked. Oh, all right.
Oh, sorry. Our bathroom door is locked on the other side. There's two doors in the bathroom. Anyway. But you know Taika's movie he did, what was it called with Hitler? What was the Hitler movie?
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. Yeah. I thought that movie was so funny. Like, I really enjoyed that movie. But I know a lot of people were like, this is just too ridiculous.
Yeah. You definitely have to have like a certain taste. And I do like his films, you know what I mean? Like, I do like his taste in comedy and stuff. I just don't know what it was about this movie, but I'll move on from that. Jane is a character I don't really care for. I mean, I was glad to see her back, I guess. But, what happens with obviously the Mighty Thor stuff and everything that happens with that character, I just was like, alright. It genuinely got nothing out of me, and it was meant to be like a really sad, emotional scene. And, even Korg in this movie felt pretty whatever to me, and he's like genuinely one of my favourite like MCU characters. Like, obviously Ragnarok made him incredibly great and funny. He was great in Endgame, the very few little scenes that we have of him. But in this, I was like, alright, cool, I guess. It was weird seeing a Thor movie without Loki. I'll say that. It was
Dude, I'm glad. I'm
glad that he's not there, because it would have been the same stuff constantly.
I'm thoroughly sick of the Loki Thor shtick at this point in time. It's like
we were talking about Ragnarok.
Yeah.
One scene.
One of my favorite scenes of Ragnarok is when Thor's like, "Yeah, I know what you're gonna do. I'm over it." Like, I love that. I love the Loki. One of the things I like about the Loki show is that Loki is nothing like Loki in the end. Like, his whole philosophy and everything changes, and I like that.
Loki, I would love to meet.
Yeah, that Loki meeting Thor would be great, you know. But the whole like thing they've had is like, I'm just so. I'm glad that the two characters. I feel like they're stronger apart.
But
I know that's kind of a hot take. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean I can, like, for a comedy movie and stuff, I shouldn't be able to count how many times I laughed, but there was genuinely only 3 times I laughed throughout the entire movie, which is pretty, shit, I guess. And it is, down to the person. I have heard this a lot of, like, when people are reviewing it, it will come down to personal taste and stuff. Like, if you love that sort of humour and you love whatever, then, yeah, you're going to love it. But if you don't, you're not going to really enjoy that, like, much of it. And, yeah, I'm just unfortunately one of them people, which is shit, because, like I said, like, I did really want to love this movie, but...
Look, when it comes to, it's not as good as Thor Ragnarok. Like, it's not as good as Thor Ragnarok. And we really liked it.
Yeah.
But we don't even think it's... I think it's a really...
That was one of the first things we said.
Yeah, I think it's a strong follow-up, like, sequel to Thor Ragnarok, but it's not as good as Thor Ragnarok.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, like...
It's not even because, like, I thought I was like, well, is it because, like, Thor Ragnarok, was it so good just because it came, like, it just surprised everyone? Like, was it the shock and wow factor?
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah. It's just a good movie,
Yeah.
We rewatched it yesterday,
Yeah, it gets better every time.
It's genuinely just a really strong...
That could be, like, a great standalone Thor movie on its own. Like, it's that good. Like...
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a solid follow-up to that Thor. That's just our opinion. But I don't think, even as it's not as strong as Thor Ragnarok was.
No. And I mean, even though I was disappointed, it's not a terrible movie or anything. It's not, I just didn't get anything from it. But I can still see the qualities that are there. But yeah, it's nowhere near as good as Ragnarok, for me anyway. And I feel like because Ragnarok is that good, naturally you will compare it. And throughout watching the movie, I was like, I kind of want it to be like that, And it just wasn't. And that's my fault, I guess, for watching the movie and going, I wish this was like Ragnarok. But obviously it's not. Instead of, seeing it for what it really was. But, yeah, do you know what? I've yabbered on for far too long. Let's hear what you used to think about the movie as a whole and what you liked. And do you know what? I'd love to know if there genuinely is anything that you dislike. I'm sure there are things, but,
So, I'm going to go on, like, as a whole,
mm-hmm.
I want to talk about, like, MCU Phase 4 first, because it's been a very interesting phase,
mm-hmm.
right?
Especially up to this point.
Especially up to this point.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about this phase, and I think there's a couple of things that need to, like, a lot of people are comparing it to, like, Phase 3 and Phase 2, and talking about how, like, there's no looming threat, nobody knows what it's building towards.
But it is a setup. It
seems a little like it's meandering.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. It should be compared to Phase 1. That is the appropriate comparison if we're talking about a larger story arc, right?
Yeah.
In Phase 1, we didn't have a goddamn clue that Thanos was even a thing until the end of Avengers, in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Right?
In a Phase
So
1.
to act as if we should know right now, we do know. I'm sorry, it's Secret Wars. That's where it's going. But anyway, to act as like it should have this strong forward plot line like we had in like Phase 3 or even Phase 2 with like every movie having a stone is unrealistic.
Yeah.
And also, it would just be bad if if it's supposed to be a 3-part story, Phase 1, 2, 3, if it started in the middle of the story with no setup, And Phase 1 was building the MCU and exploring what worked and what didn't work. It was them like experimenting.
Yeah.
So 100%. I think that's what Phase 4 is nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I admire and I wish people would acknowledge it more is throughout Phase 2 and 3, everyone kept saying there's a Marvel formula, and Marvel never varies from the formula. They always stick to the formula. You can guess what's going to happen. There's always a big blue beam shooting into the sky, And in Phase 4, they've genuinely made a strong effort to like really change their formula and what they do. Like the Multiverse of Madness is just totally different. Like it doesn't. They don't even defeat the villain at the end. They need to convince the villain to not destroy. So it's been them. I appreciate them not playing it safe this phase. They could have easily played it safe, and they're not, and they're taking big swings. I'd rather I prefer a big swing and a miss than something that's like like whatever.
Not even trying to make it swing.
Right, just like what? Because that's why, like, my least favorite things in Phase 4 have been Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
which have done nothing for their.
And the reason is because they are the most formulaic things. They are just taking the Winter Soldier thing and just doing it more. And I can even Eternals. I think more fondly. I don't even like Eternals, right?
Mhm.
But what it does,
But
what Avengers try to
I'd
do-
rather watch Eternals than those two because at least it's trying something new.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing with the Eternals, I mean, I've said it countless times. I genuinely do not like that movie. That is, like, honest to God, like, my least favourite MCU film. But I can admit and appreciate how different it is. And, like, give credit where it's due. The visuals for the movie is, like, it's amazing to look at. It genuinely is. And, like, it doesn't play like how a normal MCU film would play. Like, it's very different. But, you know, I just didn't enjoy it. But I appreciate what it was trying to do.
And here's the thing. They'll find their stride again. They just need to be allowed, and I appreciate them really experimenting, you know.
At least
like,
they're trying
I think,
to make an effort.
Like
to do something.
Multiverse of Madness, you can never say that Taika didn't have creative freedom in Love and Thunder.
No.
You know, he went for it, right?
Especially now.
Yeah, he had these two annoying ass ghosts in the entire movie.
He had a weird dumpling thing. What was all that about? That was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like named Teo.
Right.
We got a dumpling, whatever.
So I guess that paints my opinion on the movie is like when I go to an MCU movie now, all I want to see is that they're trying something new. The things, at least for me, what works is these big, weird, strange things because it's different and it's experimenting.
It's also experimenting and also just continuing to build more off of what it's already
yeah. And I feel like that's been one of my biggest praises for like the TV stuff is that every show has tried something minus the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, do you know what I mean? Like everyone has tried something different. Like obviously WandaVision being the most creative.
Yes.
Did whatever that was doing, and then like the Falcon and Winter Soldier action flick, Loki time travel, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like
super weird, yeah.
Moon Knight, like a character study, you know, all that stuff.
Psychological thriller.
Hawkeye, which was like a family Christmas sort of thing, you know.
Yes.
And obviously Miss Marvel being a very teenaged. Like
it's not like the drawings and everything. The filmmaking of it's different.
Yeah, so I appreciate how unique the shows are trying to be. That's always pleasant to see. I'm sure it's going to continue with like She-Hulk and whatnot. But I completely agree. I do like it. I think a lot of people just expect Phase 3 constant, and it's not. It doesn't work like that as a story structure. Like because we have had like great films like Endgame and whatnot, and what that film obviously did and finished off that entire 3-arc trilogy and whatnot. Fair enough, people like, oh, we want that, but it's like that would get a bit boring. Building up to that stuff,
it would have no value or weight.
Building up to that stuff makes it so much more memorable. Like when you were in the cinema and watching Cap lifting the hammer for the first time, that was genuinely like, oh, what the fuck?
And that was also 10 years of build up behind its back, or 11,
exactly.
That's that people now after Endgame, they're being so impatient that we have to instant gratification.
I need to know where we're going, what's happening, and what stage we're at.
Especially with Disney Plus shows. When the first 2 episodes are like, all right, what's going on? Why isn't anything happening? You know, it's no one has.
I think we have so many Marvel properties now. People have forgotten realizing that they're individual stories alone. They're not all thing.
I mean, eventually it's going to build towards that with all the characters.
But it's still in the end.
It's still
one movie at a time, one story at a time.
It's just now we have it with shows in film.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it's...
I completely
was
agree.
in the Marvel Studios logo.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was cool.
Yes.
And I love the opening.
I will say, I definitely... And this is just, me going off talking about, how often Marvel is putting stuff out now.
Yes.
I do kind of miss when it was, 2 movies a year, personally.
2017 was the bomb diggity.
Yes.
You got Guardians Volume 2, Spider-Man 5 years ago yesterday, Spider-Man Homecoming came out, and then it'd be 5 years in November for Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That was a stellar year.
That was a really good year for Marvel, yeah.
And then we got Avengers Infinity War in May. The following year. So, it's,
but I guess the thoughts on this movie is it's not one of the best Marvel movies.
No.
It's It's not like a top 3, but I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Did you prefer Multiverse of Madness to it, or?
Oh my god, yes.
Oh,
Multiverse of Madness is
that's
a top 10 Marvel movie.
No, even like top 5.
But yeah,
you know?
And that's for 2 specific reasons. Me and Aiden are both huge Sam Raimi fans and huge Doctor Strange fans.
So
you know,
that was a double. That was like a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing.
So
But look, I mean, if this movie, if I don't know. It's great in its own right. It's better than Thor 2 and the first Thor movie.
Yes.
I can tell you that much.
That's the thing that I think, again, I don't like Dark World so much because it's so formulaic and boring. There's nothing unique or interesting that happens in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I've like, and when me and like Aiden ranked them, Thor: The Dark World wasn't.
Man, that ranking's all messed up. Man.
Like,
we gotta go back and do that again.
Thor: The Dark World, I don't think was like at the bottom for me. I'm sure it was like I've never hated the movie or anything. Like, I have actually
Doesn't do much.
like found some enjoyment out of it, I guess, but it's not the best movie out there. Do you know what I mean, or anything like that? And obviously the first movie's very, you know. Whatever,
we rewatched it. We rewatched it. It was frustrating. I think the thing, and it's a fine movie, but I think what me and Aiden found so frustrating about it is it's like they're so trepidation about tipping their toes in the water for this cosmic Thor stuff, and it's just make a Thor movie. We don't need you to ease us into it, and maybe everyone else did, because if you're not a comic book nerd, maybe you need that. But as someone who is, rewatching that is like, God, just go full Thor. I don't need
this build up or just
this tiptoeing around it.
You're dancing around it. Why just jump in the fire? You know?
Yeah.
So, and with Thor, I feel like there was. I don't know. It was kind of frustrating watching that first movie, and then he leaves to Earth, Midgard, for a majority of the movie, and there's not even interesting stuff happening on Asgard while he's away. Odin's asleep, and then
it's
Loki's
not like Ragnarok where it's cutting between Thor's adventure and then Asgard, where it's like hella and it's really interesting.
It's more interesting. That was the most interesting. I don't even remember the second movie, to be honest with you. I mean, they were there for a lot of the time, and then
I think that second movie was like they thought that Thor should be like Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Right, and
it's
like
not.
That.
Thor
is very much it's hinders. It's all Vikings and other mythology.
It's very colorful.
It's
the original
sci-fi.
comic.
It's mostly sci-fi.
It
it's
is
about crazy tech. You know. Sci-fi Vikings. You know?
It's pretty
that's
cosmic.
Really
Consistently.
If you're going off the original books, that's what it is.
Sorry, we're going on. I apologize.
It's alright. So back to Love and Thunder. Let's go through like the characters and stuff and what you thought of them, especially like the new additions like Gore or whatever. So yeah, let's start with Gore. What did you think of him as like a villain and stuff like that in the movie?
Every single scene he's in, he's like the best part of the scene. Yeah. He's so good.
He is.
He's fantastic.
Christian Bale must have had a ball making this
Why
movie.
hasn't Christian... I mean, I know he kind of has, but I just want Christian Bale to be crazy more. He was so good.
One of my favorite scenes is him torturing the kids. He looked like he was having... That was the best scene with this.
So good.
One up, right?
Yes.
I can say every scene he was in was the best. I just love how he was such a different approach for a villain and so interesting, and his motivation was so compelling and sad, because he lost his daughter.
I do like the fact that the film started on him.
Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, I'm glad they did that.
That scene was. Gore feels so like what am I trying to say here? Ethereal and more faith based character than we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
He feels
more
so,
than Thanos.
He feels like his story is almost out of a parable. Like he was walking in the desert and then he comes across everything about him felt so different.
Yeah, it felt very like he's like a religious follower or something else, and he was just took a misstep along the way. For his belief was shattered. His own hope that he had, and now he's just with this curse that was bestowed upon him with the Necro sword. And now he rains fire across the.
Yeah, I completely agree. I loved every scene that was in. I'm pretty good that they killed him off, and did the whole.
Yeah, I don't. Much as I loved him, look, I mean, his story was.
I liked that he had the thing that I think is nice is he had a character arc at the end. He actually had he actually had an arc and it was and I like that because a lot of these MCU villains don't get that. They just die because they just need to.
They just die or they're defeated and then that's kind of like But that was satisfying.
And I like that his arc. It's always good when the villain's arc is tied to the hero's arc.
And
in many ways,
this was a great.
The lesson Thor needed to learn is the same lesson Gore needed to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in so many of these movies, and that's what makes a strong villain-hero relationship usually, is if ultimately they need to learn the same lesson, they just approach it differently.
It's just, it's a flipped mirror, you know, and that's reflection.
I will say, like, I kind of hope that we would have saw him actually kill more gods. Like, we saw him kill one.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure there's probably they just didn't include footage. There's probably more footage of that, you know.
I will say the one thing I was a little bummed is I was just waiting for him to go to that what is it called? Omnipotosha or whatever.
Is that
just to wreck hell. I kind of wanted him to do that.
That would have been great if there was like this huge battle piece with all the shadow monsters. You know, if there's some way he's like blocking out the light. That way he can use the Necro Sword there.
They were just such pricks.
Yeah, and to see all of them die would have been so satisfying. Thor's like, well, we can't ask them now.
Yeah,
you know, everyone's dead. So
I really enjoyed Zeus. I will say that. Really enjoyed
Russell
Zeus.
Crowe was so great.
Zeus was great.
The Greek accent was so funny.
I loved Zeus. I loved his powers. I loved the location and the visuals of it were so cool. And
why is everyone so horny there?
Everyone's so horny. Dude, if it's a Taika movie, everyone's really horny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said like orgy like 3 or 4 times.
If it's a Taika movie or a James Gunn movie, everyone's gonna be really horny.
Grandmaster was talking about orgies in the last
There's a lot of orgy jokes.
Yeah, it was.
I really enjoyed
You're not invited.
Zeus and like his little mannerisms where he skips and then flicks his little skirt and then like walks.
Well, and also that he walks on the butt ass naked and like look at him in the face, you know.
Yeah,
that was so funny.
Or like where he gets the lightning bolt and he's just fucking pissing about with it and then he throws it and goes no, like like that was really good.
That was good. I want a Marvel Legends figure of him.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was very fun.
I genuinely thought as well within that scene, obviously like Korg, what happens to him? I was like.
Oh, I was pissed. I was like, if you kill off Korg.
Wow. I was like, what the fuck?
I would have been really mad. I was very happy when Thor threw the lightning bolt through his chest. I was like, you go.
Yeah, and then he pulls out Korg's face out of the rocks. Looks like our bodies are like apart. Our faces.
Oh my God, it's like a bionicle character.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's like like a Kron or something.
Yes.
That was great. And then how like Valkyrie like twisted with her braids in the back of his head.
So
he's like blowing.
Stupid.
You know,
stupid.
5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
So dumb.
I will say my favourite part of the movie was like the opening with the Guardians and stuff.
That was great.
I thought it was a great start to the movie. And whatnot. And I think it was just because the Guardians were there.
Kingdom. The Blue Men in their kingdom.
Dude,
I felt bad. Like it was like giving them like Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grind, 2 goats, and he's like, let's not talk about it. I'm mad. I'm mad and sad about it. I love that. I was so.
That made me laugh.
I quite liked.
Genuine conversations. There was like, no, let's talk about it.
I love it. I like, this is stupid, but I love, and it seems like they're doing this more in the MCU after the Guardians movies, is just all the wacky characters and costumes and designs. I love the weird, like, owl ostrich people they were fighting. Just so creative and fun. Stuff like that, like all the different god designs they had. I don't. For some reason, I always get a lot out of that when they go with these really wacky, like fun, unique characters, and they're not just like generic
humanoid kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I will say in that opening scene, I did quite like where Thor's giving his speech and he has his arm out and he gets shot like through it, like his robe.
Yeah.
And he's like he doesn't react to it or anything. Like I quite like.
Yeah. That was funny.
But it was really nice seeing the Guardians. It genuinely feels like it's been ages since we've saw them.
Yes.
So it was fun catching up with them for a little bit.
It was nice seeing all of them, and even Kraglin was there. That was nice.
And getting married again and stuff. Yeah.
Planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he have like 38 wives. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just seeing them, I was just like, I'm just ready for Guardians 3.
And the holiday special.
Yeah. I'm just so ready for that film.
Yeah.
Mighty Thor. She's a big part of the movie. What did you think? Obviously, I'm sure that it plays very close to the comic. Obviously, with the cancer and whatnot, and
yes,
which is obviously a very serious subject, and I'm glad obviously the film doesn't joke around that.
No.
Which would have been very distasteful if it did, but obviously they wouldn't do that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's not, what I liked about her is, well, first of all, I liked the montage scene they show and like how they broke up and stuff.
That was great.
That one scene
added more to their relationship than those first two movies.
Yeah, that did more than the relationship in the first two movies. That one scene of them hanging out.
Yeah,
you know,
that was great. I love that scene.
Yes,
that
was really fun. I think Natalie Portman in general is just a stoic person. You know, like she's not like Taika or even Chris Hemsworth, where they're like cartoon characters, you know? She's a much more grounded she's a great actress, but a much more grounded actress. You know, like even if you watch her in the prequels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she brings a different energy, but I do like that in this, her whole thing in those first two Thors is she's like, oh my god, Thor's so handsome, he's a god, and I'm just a normal girl.
Yeah.
That's like, and that's all the jokes are based on that. I liked how she like. It almost feels like she's trying to pep herself up some more, and she's trying to like get into it. I like that because it kind of, I like that she wasn't naturally suited to being Thor. You know, like her soul is right, but her like demeanor like typically isn't. And I was expecting them to just act like all of a sudden she's just like a cool badass now, but I still she was still kind of trying to like she almost wasn't comfortable in her skin, and she was trying to get into it.
She was a little bit more. She was exploring something new. You know, definitely out of what she's been. I mean, this is the best stuff they've done with her in any of the movies.
Yes.
No, period. You know, her story and what she was able to do.
Yeah.
You know, a pivotal part of the whole entire story.
And all her action scenes were great. I mean, I know that's that's kind of like a lowbrow thing, but they did a really good job with her action.
Oh, and with all Mjolnir, that was so cool of it splitting apart and coming back together piece by piece.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, and I thought, it was, and I liked how her arc accented Thor's pretty well, but and I admire, and it almost feels like it could be so obvious when everyone's like, oh, you know, they always talk about how Marvel's trying to push all these female characters, which I think is great and they should be. But they almost trick you in this because you think that Mighty Thor is going to like stick around for more movies and be on, like, I don't know, A-Force or something like that. So, and I was expecting, and I would be totally cool with that because I really like that. But it was unique and it took me by surprise when she just died, and I was like, wow, that's not where I was expecting this to go.
Yeah,
Thor goes on. You know?
Yeah, Thor lives on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
but that's
it was. I mean, she's been there since Phase 1, so it was like, you know, quite weird to see her go, I guess. Like, even if you're not attached to the character, it's like she's been around for like a while. Like, and you know. Yeah, and I mean, like, when she was like talking to like whoever, like, it was nice to see like that whole gang back together, like, for the very small period it was.
That was really neat, and I was very surprised by that. Like, I did not think Darcy was going to be in this movie for like a brief scene, but that was excellent. And then the other scientist, he was great. Even though it was on like FaceTime.
I think it shows some maturity in Marvel that I appreciate. That whereas before they were so quick to just drop things and be like, that was stupid, we're going to forget about that and move on. Nowadays it seems like they're more like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best, but maybe it'd be more mature and creatively responsible to repurpose that and use it again in the future in a better way. Like, we did this, let's commit to it, you know. They're doing that with and they're doing it with Abomination as well. And even kind of with like the Netflix stuff a little bit with like Daredevil. So I like that it was interesting. Like, Marvel in Phase 3, like, they wouldn't have done that. Like, and they didn't. In Ragnarok they just dropped everyone. And that movie's fine, but I like that they're like, you know what, let's own this. Let's commit to it, you know. I appreciated that.
Yeah. Trying to think of who else. Like, I'm a bit gutted that Mick wasn't Meek. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wasn't really in the movie.
I totally agree. Meek should have been in the movie more.
Oh yeah,
Especially since
the only scene that Meek got a highlight for was the whiteboard.
Dude, I love Meek in the sassy businesswoman outfit. I think
Yeah.
that's great. I want to see it. I want to see Meek in it more. That could have been so funny.
More sass.
You know,
more Meek.
exactly.
Especially with Korg, like those two worked really well, like in Ragnarok. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish Meek just came along and it was like holding Korg's face around or something, you know?
Yes. That.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would have been perfect because
Yeah.
in Ragnarok, Korg carries
Yeah.
Meek. In this, if they would have done the inverse of that, like what they do with Rocket and Groot, that would have been great.
yeah.
I love that.
Valkyrie, like obviously she's King Valkyrie and stuff now. She doesn't seem like she was enjoying that, to be fair. I will say, the Shadow Dimension, great move. Just having the colour stripped out of the movie. And just having the only colour being the lightning and Gore's eyes. I loved that.
Yeah.
That was, I really, really love that stylistic choice they took with that.
It was awesome.
Valkyrie did feel like they didn't quite know what to do with her.
Yeah.
When Korg's talking to her, that's a little scene that I feel like that could have been something more that they should have.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have as clear of an arc as everyone else does.
Right.
You
And
know?
I wish
she's almost
she has
just there.
more.
Yeah, like even Korg kind of gets one. You know, he finds love.
And Dwayne the Rock
I
Johnson.
love it.
I hope his name's Johnson. His last name's Johnson.
I hope they just call him Dwayne the Rock for like now on. That was great.
With the Bigfoot and porno stash.
Obviously, there's like a little plot hole because in Ragnarok, Thor's or Korg specifically mentions his mom, and then in this he says he has two dads. My headcanon is that he had two dads, and maybe they went away or whatever, and then at one point he was adopted by a mother of another species or something like that. You know, that's my like headcanon. But it is like that's like but it's like a dumb complaint. And obviously it's comic book accurate. Like that's what they do in the comics. They hold their arms out and make if you Google like the species, that's what they do.
They make babies like that.
Yeah. I liked. It's just he has a mustache. What the hell?
That's great. You looked over to him and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Big porno stash.
We
That's
thought
what it
Korg
was.
was gonna have a mustache in the movie.
Yes.
They showed that one piece of marketing merch, and I'm like, oh, where's the mustache? You know, nowhere else. Oh, God has it.
Do you want to rate the movie? Like, what would you give it out of 10 and stuff?
Ooh.
And do you know what? You can rank the four movies as well whilst you're at it.
Oh,
it's easy right
yeah.
now.
I kind of already said that. A rating.
A rating.
If I do by numbers or I'll do by grade. I mean, I'll do. Honestly, dude. I mean, it'd probably be like a 8.5 or 8.9, maybe close to 9. I want to say.
I think I'm gonna rest at an 8.
You're gonna rest at an 8.
An 8.
I'm gonna do 8.5.
Yeah.
8.5. What are you gonna say, Rangus? Go on.
A solid 6. I can't
Okay.
give it anything lower. It's not terrible.
I just think, look, man,
not amazing for me. It's average.
You're being nice to it.
Yeah, like I say, like there's stuff in there that I do like, and there is stuff that I can be like, oh yeah, I appreciate that they did that, but it didn't work for me, so I can't,
Yeah.
Like we said at the start, it's definitely a movie that is going to be polarizing for a lot of people, and it is going to be the case. And I think it's not like for the things that they introduced, like what the things they're trying to push, all that shit. It's not that. It's just definitely a polarizing movie. But I'm definitely curious to know how it's going to end up down the line. Like if it's going to be a movie that people actually appreciate more, like in years to come, or
I think it really. I don't think look, it is a polarizing reaction. I don't think they have to. I think they have to do Thor 5 with Taika. Like they need to let Taika finish this trilogy.
Yeah.
Kind of doing.
Even though it's Thor 5.
And even though it's Thor 5, but I think that's. By the way, I want to say I like Thor being a dad. I think that was really sweet.
Uncle Thor.
Uncle Thor. I think that.
Oh, Daryl.
Oh yeah, Daryl.
No, it's really.
There was a Daryl cameo.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the reaction to this should not be like, oh, this is. I think if I was Marvel, I'd be like, okay, maybe we should give this like like just pull back in a few places if some people didn't like it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if the next Thor movie's like really good and it like and it's like has a really great conclusion to like Korg and everything like that, I think this one will be remembered more fondly.
Yeah.
If the next Thor movie's really bad, I think this one will be remembered pretty bad.
Yeah. I feel like what it comes down to as well is like the tone balance that Ragnarok had. That film had it spot on like throughout, whereas this film was a bit, you know, it just went from one to the other very fast.
I think also part of the reason why Ragnarok works so well is because it was the end of a trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had everything set up, and it was like supposed to be the big grand conclusion,
Yeah.
and it was able to swerve, but then also still give you everything, and that like and that made it really clever. Like, oh, we're gonna get Ragnarok in this movie. Eventually, Asgard will be destroyed. We know that's gonna happen, right? But what we don't know is that Thor was going to be the one to make that happen in a way to defeat Valkyrie or to defeat Hela. That was a surprising thing, right?
Yeah.
Or you know these other two Thor movies, we built up Odin and Asgard like they were this perfect place, and now in this one we're going to swerve and reveal that actually they were really evil at the beginning with Hela and did a lot of bad stuff. And that's why Odin is so peaceful and so worried about Thor being angry in the first one. And those clever swerves made Ragnarok a really smart like thing. This movie doesn't have anything like it could have been anything, right? It feels less clever because it doesn't have anything to surprise you with. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but
yeah. So that's that. Obviously, you know.
Oh, we gotta rank them.
Also, actually, post-credit scenes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
First one. What did we think?
Yeah, it was cool.
We were like, oh shit.
It was cool. I think people overhype post-credit scenes so much nowadays. Everyone's like, you have to stay. If it sets up anything at this point, right? If it has any setup, everyone's like, oh my god, you have to stay. And it's like, okay, look, it's Hercules, cool, but it's not like Galactus showed up or something.
It's just
you
like,
know,
okay, that's neat. That's
cool. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Like Eternity showing up.
Oh, so that's something we need to talk about. That's also probably another reason why me and Aiden loved it so much is because we love the Marvel cosmology in the comics.
The first 5 minutes they mentioned Eternity, I'm like, this.
I turned over to him and I went, you know, because we love those cosmic deities. So the thought of seeing one, and they've been toying with it forever. They've been hinting at showing one.
They show one,
and they showed one, and he looked perfect. He looked exactly like how he should look in the comic.
Toes.
He
had toes.
He had toes. He was so like that was huge. Like that was already enough. Like you just show one of those guys, I'm like sold. You know,
which is it's huge and it means.
And that dude, soon. He's totally gonna show. They're totally gonna do that wish thing again at some point. You know. That's what Marvel does. They'll set up these little things, and then they'll come back around to it later.
They're
gonna have.
The whole layout was very parallel to like Infinity War with Thanos.
Exactly. You know? Mark my words. You know, it's gonna be in a couple in like next phase or the phase after. One of the heroes is gonna have to make a wish or whatever, and is gonna go to eternity, and we're gonna see that all happen again. Like I just know it's gonna happen. But yeah, post credits Hercules, cool. Like what? Yeah. I mean, it'll be.
I mean, I was pretty happy to see him. I mean, like, I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I was glad that Zeus wasn't killed. I mean, I was like, I kind of thought that they wouldn't kill him off because obviously he is meant to be that kind of sort of like level of a god. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the second one. I saw my man Idris as Heimdall, which was great.
Hell yeah.
In Valhalla.
Very happy.
I really like that.
I like them using the effect of them disappearing like Odin does in Ragnarok. That was really cool.
Obviously referenced in this movie, destroying sparkles and dust in the air from the place. That was funny.
Yeah. Do we really need to rank them?
I don't know.
No, not really.
Look, it's not as good as Ragnarok, but it's better than the other two.
Yeah.
Like that's all.
Yeah, I'll say so you've came and seen Aiden. So what's the crack? What have you been buying? Loads of shit.
I've been buying all sorts of shit.
Actual shit.
Actual like.
Oh, I should show you where he came with a can of booze, right? This is great. This is up my mileage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at this.
Oh god.
Yeah.
There's literal ooze.
Ooh.
There you go.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Nasty.
You hear that slap? I mean, it's like.
That's disgusting.
So
we don't
that's-
need to have.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm gonna take the whole thing. I mean, you know.
All sorts of stuff, man. We've been buying
Yeah, a
all
lot.
kinds-
I bought Gore. I bought Gore from
Mhm.
Marvel's Gore God Butcher.
Mhm.
Show what you got. You got. A lot
I got
of
all
stuff.
sorts, man. I got this. I got this 2-pack
Yeah.
with these two. I've been on a turtle kick lately. I have the NECA movie turtles, and I've been kind of thinking about Ninja Turtles as a franchise. These guys are great. This guy's a little wonky, but he's pretty cool. I don't have any other Power Rangers figures at all. I only got this because I was curious, and also because the NECA hand ninjas are ridiculously expensive. So I was like, I'll just get this guy and I'll use him, and he's fantastic. The articulation is ridiculous, man. Like his butterflies are like nuts, you know. He's got like
No need.
he's great, you know. So I'm really happy I got this guy and just to experiment. I also got to go with my movie Turtles, the movie Splinter and movie Shredder 2-pack.
Hey.
It's NECA. It goes out saying they're great, except that this guy's got a weird texture and he leaves residue on your fingers. It's
I love
gross.
it. I love it.
Like they feel tacky and weird. It's like it's nasty ass.
It's delicious.
And then I got the 4-pack with the 3 3/4 inch. These
Oh
guys.
yeah.
But it was on sale. It's normally like $40 and it was $20 and I was like, dude, I gotta do that.
That's fine.
I got
$40 originally.
it was a
Jesus.
4-pack. So it's these 2 guys and then 2 other guys, right? So
Fair.
but they're still 3 3/4 inch though.
Mhm.
But then I got the Black Widow that Aiden found. She's pretty cool. Just didn't have a Black Widow, so
Mhm.
yep. She was on sale for like $7 or something.
Yeah.
And like one of the coolest things I got, this speaks to me and Aiden like perfectly.
Mhm.
Is Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Hey.
He's
This is a figure that Aiden constantly talks about to me.
Dude, he's fantastic.
Mhm.
This type of weird, crazy, kooky thing is right up my alley. I
Mhm.
mean, you slap Cosmic in front of anything and I'll probably like it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this
yeah.
is
Cosmic Ghost Rider is
dude,
like,
he's fantastic and the
Mhm.
bike's great.
Man.
He's
I just
just.
think we need to find the comic books today. But
I know that would have been great.
Yeah.
He's awesome though.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything I got. What else did you get?
Show the goat boat.
Oh,
if
he
you
got-
don't mind.
Look at
I picked up the Lego goat boat.
Rangus's favorite
Hey.
characters of all time right here. Favorite characters.
I
Give
agree
him a
with
kiss.
Nebula. That
Give-
should have been put
Give him
down.
a big
No, give
wet
me a kiss
kiss.
the other one. The other one's got tongue out.
Yeah, give him some tongue. All right.
Yeah.
So
It's cool. It's fun. It's mostly a Viking boat, and it's very well built. I had fun building it. It's very
Yeah.
straightforward,
It
but
looks great.
good figures, and it was $50 and like around 500 pieces. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah,
so
it's not bad at all.
no,
Yep. And it says Asgard Tours on it, like
Yeah.
in the movie.
That's quite cool.
yeah, it's cool. It was a neat build.
Yeah.
What else?
Don't you get like all the main characters with that as well?
Yeah, you get everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
where Gore is, but here's the crew.
Hey.
After watching the movie, this is literally the crew.
Yeah.
Oh shit, there's Thor.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty great minifigs pack if you just get this like
Mhm.
say you get-
Yeah, if you just after the.
And they're all very detailed done. Gore's like my least favorite because they didn't do too much with him. I wish he came with like a cloth or cape. But other than
Mhm.
that, like the black sword's really sick. But
Yeah.
the last thing I got, this is what I got at the boardwalk. Muckman. This is probably the Ninja Turtles frenzy we're on. He's basic garbage man, and that's why I freaking loved him. But I mentioned about the use, but he is fantastic. He's got like the cell shading, but it's very
Mhm.
just very different kind of figure. And I really like him. He's really cool.
Do you
so-
know what? I just remembered that God didn't have in the movie. He didn't have his little sandals.
Oh, he didn't.
He was walking around barefoot.
He's got sandals in the comic books.
He does. What the hell? I forgot about that.
Also,
Wait.
they never
Wait.
they never not confirm that the all black the Necro sword
Yeah.
is not. They never say it isn't made from the symbiote god. No, so it could still feasibly have been made by him.
I think that's probably why they left it open. In all honesty, just to be like,
They said it's his cursed sword, and that's really,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the sword was awesome.
It was.
and I like the abilities like they gave him, like how he
Yes.
can just reappear in front of you and shit like that.
Yeah.
That was quite cool.
Shadows.
Yeah. So that's. I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, I bought a little Lego set, but I'll quickly talk about that, and then I guess that's at the episode. I bought these because I was bored, I guess. I kind of really like little micro builds, and especially to take pictures of and stuff. And I mean, I can't tell you how much I love the AT-AT drivers in general. Like, they're just my favourite trooper. Very, very underrated. And
They look neat. Yeah.
No, they're cool. I always saw them in the movie and thought they look cool.
I do quite like little chibi like AT-ATs as well. I think they're quite fun. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else really, is there?
I don't think so. It's good to hear. Thanks for waking up so late so we could do this. Appreciate
it's all right.
that.
There is going to be a review of Stranger Things Volume 2 of Season 4, The Boys, Miss Marvel, when that finishes. Hopefully in the next coming days. It depends on who can get on and whatnot, but that's going to be our thing for the next few weeks. So content sorted, baby. So yeah, thank you both for being on tonight.
For having us.
Yep.
Yes. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of grief from the other two in chat for not waiting for them to review it. But
Aren't they both going to see it this weekend?
they are, yeah. Braden is seeing it tomorrow, I think, and then Tyler's seeing it Sunday.
I think Brayden is going to love the movie. It is so silly and dumb.
I think it's his kind of thing, but I think Tyler's maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
He definitely, I think he, a lot of his criticisms, like seeing the promotional art and stuff at the time, kind of rings true to what happens or what it's like in the movie. So I'm curious to know what they think. They could surprise us, and Braden could come back and say that was fucking awful. I hate that. And Tyler could come back and say that was the best thing ever. We're like, what?
It just hates it, and Tyler loves it. Like, it's his favorite movie now.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
That would be so weird. I
guess we'll have to see and find out.
But thanks for watching. Do you want to say anything before we go?
Love and thunder.
Gauze sandals. Where are they?
Where does he have sandals?
Add them in.
He's got like weird toes in the comments.
For digital releases and everything like that, just add the sandals in post VFX.
Oh my god.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.